Safety and health are important to every one of us. Beazer Homes recognizes that injuries occur too often in the workplace every day. One of the many reasons we have a safety program is that statistics show that across the United States, an injury occurs in the workplace approximately every 8 seconds. Another reason we have a safety program is that in 2010 alone, there were 3.06 million injuries in the United States. Approximately 2.1 million of those injuries resulted in days away from work, job transfer, or restricted duties at work. Did you know that of those 3 million injuries, 1/3 come from just 10 occupations? Beazer Homes trade partners fit into 3 of the 10: construction laborers, carpenters, cleaners, and janitors. If we drill down further and look specifically at the residential construction industry, we find that approximately 20,700 injuries occur each year. We need to be concerned, and we are concerned with those numbers. We do not want our employees or our trade partners on those lists. At Beazer Homes, we want to ensure that you work in a safe environment so that you can return home each day safely. We want to minimize risk and comply with all our obligations regarding internal safety and regulatory requirements. To be successful, we need your help and participation in the program. We will go into the specifics of how you can help, but in general, we need you to work safely without injuring yourself or others, to observe the rules even when no one is looking, and to report unsafe conditions or actions to your supervisor so that they can be corrected. Now that you understand why we have a safety program, we can review what our program covers. In this session, we will confirm Beazer's commitment to safety and health. We will review elements of our safety and health policy. We will focus on identifying the responsibilities you have as a Beazer employee. And we will briefly review the Emergency Preparedness Program and Hazard Communication Programs. We'll start with Beazer's commitment to health and safety. Beazer Homes is committed to conducting its operations in a manner that protects people and property, the communities, and of course, our environment. These are not just words, they are a way of working and thinking every day. We believe that our safety and health programs have a direct link to our core values, CTIOU. Our safety program incorporate teamwork, integrity, openness, and urgency. And through those elements, safety can contribute to our overall competitiveness. We also believe that occupational injuries and illnesses can be minimized, and that 0 injuries is a realistic goal. The next slide will review how our diligence and commitment to health and safety are their own reward. The chart shows a comparison of Beazer Homes to industry average for days away from work due to injury. The pink line across the top is the industry average DART rate. The bars at the bottom show Beazer Homes rate. You can see that our divisions consistently rank below the industry average. On average, 15 to 20 of our divisions go injury-free each quarter, and many of our divisions have gone injury-free for a year or longer. We are proud of our work and believe strongly in our commitment to safety. At Beazer Homes, awareness on the job is a key to staying safe. This slide shows that the majority of injuries occur in just 5 categories. Here is an overview of the 5 categories and some tips on how to remain safe. Falls from the same level, tripping over debris and uneven surfaces in the workplace. Always watch the surface you are walking on and the surrounding areas. Overexertion. Get help when you need it and stay hydrated if you are working outside. Struck by. We work in a busy place. Be aware of equipment and activities going on around you. Falls from different levels. Keep your eyes open. Check to see that you are not stepping off the edge. Review and follow your fall protection plan if you are working at an elevation in the field. Cuts. Wear gloves where it is appropriate. There are lots of sharp objects in the workplace, whether you are in the field or in an office environment. Our commitment is to training our employees to do their jobs safely. Your commitment should be to actively participating in the program and implement what you have been taught. These elements are essential to the success of Beazer's safety and health programs. As examples, we require all new builders to complete OSHA's 10-hour course in safety, and we provide many of our field and selected office employees with first aid, CPR, and bloodborne pathogen training. To attain a leadership position in the home building industry, we know that safety and health issues must demand the same level of attention as any other facet of our operations. Beazer strives every day to be recognized as one of the safest builders in the United States. In fact, Beazer was recognized by the National Association of Home Builders for having the Single Family Builder Safety Program of the Year in 2009. Now let's look at the key components of Beazer's Safety and Health Program. We strive to identify workplace hazards and areas for improvement. Our employees take appropriate action to reduce or eliminate those hazards and improve our safety culture. We all need to work to remove hazards in the office environment, such as overloaded electrical strips and open file cabinet drawers that could cause injury. We also must work to remove hazards in the field, such as the housekeeping issues and tripping hazards shown on the right. We also provide resources and training to meet our safety and health objectives, as well as regulatory compliance needs. We work closely with our regional safety and environmental managers and division safety officers in each area of our business to increase our focus on safety and health. Please be sure to talk with your manager to identify your local division safety officer. Another key component of our safety and health policy is that we promote ongoing improvement in our safety and health culture and measure this improvement through periodic evaluations. In the field, we have frequent safety inspections performed by Beazer's builders. Our insurance company also conducts third-party audits as well as inspections that can occur at any time by OSHA. We also want to engage trade partners who demonstrate commitment to safety and health standards. It is important to us that they follow the same standards for safety that we do, and that we all share the same safety goals. Whether your office is in the field or in division sales office, we are all governed by the same safety regulations and standards. Our safety officers investigate all accidents and incidents, and we share key findings and update our policies accordingly. Beazer Homes is dedicated to cooperating with regulatory agencies to resolve safety and health concerns, and even participate in the development of meaningful regulations for our industry. We encourage our employees to take initiative in implementing our safety and health policy, and we will review how you can help in the upcoming slides. We request that you please read the Safety and Health Policy Statement that is found on the Safety Portal on the Beazer intranet. We ask that after completing your new employee orientation that you read it. Demonstrate your commitment to safety by joining your fellow employees in implementing safety and health policies and actions. Now let's review the specific ways you can implement the safety and health policy and our safety programs in your daily work. As a Beazer employee and a participant in our safety and health program, we require you to perform workplace tasks safely. That's important whether you are in an office or on a construction site. This could mean closing file drawers and cabinets after you've finished, removing obstacles on the floor that people could trip over, or installing floor mats in the entry to remove slip hazard when floors are wet. Our field personnel need to use and encourage trade partners to use fall protection equipment where appropriate, access ladders and scaffolds only when trained to do so, and scaffolds have been inspected by a competent person, and all individuals accessing the construction site must wear protective equipment, PPE, where it is required. Personal protective equipment, or PPE requirements, include articles that are suggested but also required for protection in certain work areas. These first two requirements are always followed on the construction site. Head protection. Employees must wear hard hats as soon as they step out from their vehicle. You must also wear them in areas adjacent to the construction site, such as a roadway, if activities in these areas present the potential for head injury. Hand and foot protection. Employees must always wear a substantial work shoe, not athletic shoes, high-heeled or open-toed shoes, on a land development or construction site. Employees must recognize activities that present danger to the hands. In those situations, you must wear gloves or other protective devices. Head and foot protection are also necessary for office employees and new home counselors who visit the construction site. You should report immediately to the construction trailer upon arrival so that you can be provided with a hard hat. Please ensure that you have acceptable footwear when visiting a construction site. Additional PPE requirements must also be followed when you are in a situation that specifically requires it. Let's review some of them now. Eye protection. Beazer Homes will provide non-prescription eye and/or face protection whenever there is a hazard to the eyes or face. Those employees that require prescription eyeglasses will need to utilize goggles or prescription safety glasses with side shields in areas where there is a potential eye hazard. face shields must also be used in conjunction with safety glasses or goggles in areas where activities could create potential hazards to the face. Hearing protection. If engineering or administrative controls are not able to reduce noise exposures below the permissible noise exposure levels, hearing protection will be provided. Employees will be responsible for using the protection devices. The rule of thumb is, if you can't have a discussion at normal speaking levels at arm's length distance, you should move away from the noise and consider hearing protection. Protective clothing. Beazer will provide the protective clothing, such as gloves, if required to safely perform assigned tasks. Respiratory protection. Beazer employees typically do not perform work that generates hazards or are exposed to hazards to the respiratory system. However, in those situations where respiratory hazards are present, contact your division safety officer and review the hazard to determine the appropriate PPE for this part of your job. If the employee must use respiratory protection, a physical, fit test, and training is required before donning of the respirator. As a Beazer employee, you also have a responsibility to report any unsafe actions or conditions that you see. Do not ignore them. If you smell something odd or see a spill or broken glass, contact your supervisor or your division safety officer so it can be investigated or addressed quickly and safely. You have a right and an obligation to implement a pause work whenever you believe a condition is unsafe. If you are on a job site and observe a coworker or trade partner working without following the appropriate safety precautions, you are obligated to stop work until they have corrected the problem. Otherwise, you may be putting yourself and Beazer at risk. Should an injury or accident occur, the injured party should obtain appropriate first aid attention immediately and then report it to a manager. If you are unsure whether or not the injury is significant enough to report, go ahead and report it. It is always better to err on the side of caution. Even reporting a near miss could prevent someone else from getting injured. At Beazer, employees need to be responsible for only operating equipment or machinery on which they have been trained, and while wearing appropriate personal protective equipment. Shortcuts are the fastest way to create an unsafe situation. All Beazer employees need to be responsible for only operating equipment or machinery on which they have been trained and while wearing appropriate personal protective equipment. Shortcuts are the fastest way to create an unsafe situation. Beazer employees and trade partners are required to observe posted sign requirements on all job sites and in and around office locations. Everything from a no smoking sign to a subdivision job site rule sign must be adhered to at all times. Beazer Homes has identified plans and procedures having to do with emergencies, i.e. fire, tornado, earthquake, hurricane, as appropriate for your location. Please check with your supervisor and/or division safety officer for copies of those plans and procedures. Last but not least is our Hazard Communication Program. Your division safety officer maintains the list of hazardous chemicals which are present in your workplace. If you have questions about any chemical in the workplace, please consult the CIL Chemical Inventory List that is available from your Division Safety Officer. You will find answers to questions you may have regarding safety procedures when using any of the chemicals by consulting Safety Data Sheets, SDSs, also available from your Division Safety Officer. Review the SDSs for hazardous or toxic chemicals you will be using or potentially exposed to in the workplace before you use them. In this section, you've gained an understanding of Beazer Homes' commitment to safety and health. You've reviewed the safety policy statement and reviewed the specific responsibilities and obligations you have as a Beazer employee in implementing the safety policy. You also learned where you can get your questions answered and to whom you can give suggestions regarding safety. This training will be assigned to you through Beazer University. We're dedicated to making Beazer Homes a safe place for all of us to work. To help each of you remember, we've modified a motto from Smokey the Bear: only you can prevent workplace injuries.